Good morning. It's good to see all of you today as we do chapel virtually. And I was asked to step in to offer a few reflections on our text for today. And my comments are based on 1 John chapter 3, verses 16 to 18. This is how we know what love is. Jesus Christ laid down his life for us, and we ought to lay down our lives for our brothers and sisters. If anyone has material possessions and sees a brother or sister in need but has no pity on them, how can the love of God be in that person? Dear children, let us not love with words or speech, but with actions and truth. I was surprised as I was doing a little poking around for studying of this text, and I ran into an article by Stan Wilson, who back in 2006, when this was published, he wrote that his church in Mississippi has an unwritten rule that they will never ignore a member's basic need, particularly in the area of medical care and food, but it could be school or any other item. And I want to read a little bit from his article. Whenever our members know of a need in the church, they call me. Is there any money in the benevolence fund? You know, Johnny got cut back on his hours and his kids need some help with some school supplies. And the answer is always yes. We have yet to encounter a need that we could not fill. Another church I pastored hosted a church-wide garage sale to help a medical need. So even though it's an unwritten rule, I believe it to be ironclad. We will not let another member go without food or without medical treatment. If a young person needs help going to school, we'll find a way. If someone's house is unlivable, we'll find them a new one or invite them into a spare room. He also talked about a church in Oregon, Eugene, Oregon, that has made the same commitment, and it's a part of their mission statement that no one in that community, that church community, a brother or sister, will go in need. And I thought, wow, that's a pretty powerful thought. I never ever thought about that in those very concrete terms, because when John is talking about this love, it isn't just a feeling. It's actually something that we act upon, that we lay down our life for another person. And of course, there aren't many opportunities to actually literally lay down our life as Christ did for us. But often money is pretty important to us. And for that reason, sometimes it can be challenging to give what the Lord has gifted us with, to give to our neighbor in need. And I thought, wow, I really like that idea that we see each other, the people who we are in contact with in our worshiping community, in our local community. We can see the need, and therefore we can act. Because it's about being aware and then being moved to give in love, because that's who we are. As Tertullian said about the early church, behold how they love one another. Of course, we regularly fail at this, and this is why we ultimately to us, which is Christ's own sacrifice on the cross. He gave his life for us. He gave us what we most deeply needed, and that was a relationship with God and restoration of ourselves from our own failings and our own sin through his forgiveness, through his death and his resurrection. And so ultimately, John, in his letter here, is encouraging us to love one another, but to draw on the resources of Christ's love and his forgiveness that frees us and empowers us to actually look at our neighbor and see in our neighbor Jesus Christ himself. For as much as you've done it to the least of these, my brothers or sisters, you've done it to me. So that we might be an embodiment of Christ in the world for our neighbor, for a brother, for our sister. So today, I guess I just want to spend a little bit more time looking around me and asking the question, which of these people are in need, and how can I act to help them as Christ has done for me? Amen.